You're thinking about buying a house, where are we gonna start? Don't do what 70% of buyers do, and that's simply just go onto Zillow, get the first random agent they get, and bumble through the process. Be informed. And that's what this video is gonna show you today. Kayla and I wanted to do this informational video, which we have no idea what the heck we're shooting, but it's gonna be fun along the process, and by the end of this, you're gonna know two things. One, we are really funny people, and two, you're gonna know how to buy a home, most importantly, and do it the right way, avoiding all the pitfalls. So let's dive in.
Okay, well, first I think we have to start with the end in mind. What is our process gonna look like?
That's a great question. What does the process look like? What's step one?
I think step one is that you've got to figure out that you want to buy a house. You have to make sure it makes sense for you.
That's very true, especially in this day and age where we see a lot of people on the real estate side overbuying simply to get into a home. Right? A lot of people right now that contact us are saying, okay, we want this pie in the sky thing instead of starting small. When my parents bought their first home, it was an 800 square foot, 2-bedroom, no basement, but they knew it was a stepping stone. It was the bridge to build equity to get into second, third, and eventually their ultimate property. So I want to be sure that we're thinking a little bit more conservatively, especially in this high interest rate market. So first we got to determine where do we want to be and what's important. Do we have schools as a factor, or do we not have kids yet? If we don't have kids yet, that means that we might be able to take a little bit of a step down to conserve and save some more money for a retirement account, or maybe we do need to pay a little bit more today to get into the right school district, which means less money going into the retirement account or the kids' college funds. So that's a very personal choice that you're gonna have to first think about for yourselves.
And who's gonna be able to help us kind of navigate some of these conversations? Because I might not know, like, okay, maybe I do want Clarkston school districts, but how do those prices compare to Lake Orion or Oxford or something like that? Who's going to be the expert that I'm going to ask those questions to?
That's a great question. So there are three main experts that you're going to want to have in your back pocket. First one, of course, being your real estate agent, and you want somebody local and knowledgeable. Second one is a lender, and I would highly advise somebody to go with a local, knowledgeable lender. And third one, of course, is going to be your title agency, who you aren't going to talk to very often, but they're going to make sure that when you do purchase that property, it's going to be free and clear of any clouds, judgments, defects, tax liens, any of that kind of stuff, any contractor liens. Is you're not buying just a bundle of problems, and that's what the title company is there for. So from a locale perspective, a real estate agent will help guide you into or out of the right areas that meet your budget, plus the amenities for the area that you need. Not just the house, but the area as well. And of course, the house. From the second perspective, the reason why I say you got to work with a local lender is because many buyers out there have heard the words FHA loan or conventional loan, but that's about as far as it goes. A lot of people have not heard rural development loans. Here in Southeast Michigan, about 30% of properties qualify for what's called an RD or rural development loan. Now that loan is as low as 1% down. It has a favorable interest rate and favorable closing costs, especially as compared to a conventional loan or an FHA, which is a 3 or 3.5% down minimum. So that could save some money and put some money back into your pocket. So somebody that's well versed with down to the zip code as a lender is exceptionally important because of the different loan products that are out on the market today. A one size fits all, no offense, Rocket, a one size fits all generally does not do the best for my clients, which is why we always advise that second local lender opinion.
Can I ask you, because you specifically said lender, right? And those of us who are a little bit more well-versed in the real estate world, I think most of us are like, okay, do you recommend a lender or a local lender or a local mortgage broker? I'm curious.
Yeah, typically I recommend a local mortgage broker as opposed to a bank. Or sometimes a credit union if they're already a participating member of a credit union. But it's going to, again, depend on the location of the home, what loan products are available, and what's the best fit for them. So getting 2 or even 3 opinions may be the best way to go. So, and then in addition to that, there are more loan types out there. So let's say that you are a physician. So there is literally a thing called a physician's loan, which is 0 down up to, I forgot the limit is right now, I believe it's $500,000, and then it's 5% down over that, and they give you an extremely aggressive interest rate. The reason why banks are willing to do this, Chase Bank has a fabulous product for this, by the way, and so is Huntington Bank. The reason why they're willing to do this is because they know over the lifetime of a doctor being a doctor, they're also probably going to have a building loan, an equipment loan, all of these other tens of millions of dollars in loans that they can generate more fees off of. So if they can get you early on with your first house at a very favorable interest rate, they're going to do it. And of course, you're just going to go back to the same banking institution that you went to the first time for all of the next loans when you're actually leaving and setting up your own practice, which is really interesting. And then of course, there's new construction loans, which there are lenders that are fantastic at those and lenders that just are terrible. So I mentioned Chase. Chase, while very good at doing doctor loans are some of the worst ones to work with when it comes to new construction because they really back the process up 4 to 8 weeks. And what I mean by that is versus like a Huntington Bank, builders, a lot, especially spot builders, let's call it Royal Oak or Birmingham, work off a draw system. They don't put the money in themselves. Like Pulte will put the money in themselves because they're a huge national conglomerate. But a smaller, more custom builder, they need the money from the bank to continue the project. So then Chase or Huntington will send an inspector out there and go say, hey, look, are we at this point in the process? If so, release another $200,000. Chase is very stringent on it. It has to be 100%. Huntington, they'll give you some give. Like 95% is 100. So if they're almost there, that's okay. They'll still give you the draw. So it's very important who you pick, which again goes back to the real estate agent that knows the process, knows the products, and can guide you to the right lending institution.
Got it. So, okay, so let's back it up for a second. So you say you like a mortgage broker over a lender.
Yes.
But then you're saying you like Huntington. So explain it to those of us out there who are like, wait a second, I don't understand. I thought Huntington is a lender, but you like Huntington. So how does this like mortgage broker lender relationship thing work? Like what's the difference?
Yeah, no, and that's a great question. So the difference is going to be when you go to any lender, they of course want to close a loan with you. So they're going to try to shoehorn you into the right box no matter what that box is. Mortgage brokers have a lot more boxes that can fit what your need is. So a lot of these guys are taking your loan and shopping it out to 10, 15, 20 banks. And depending on the risk level and depending on the type of loan, they generally 90% of the time have the right loan for you versus a Chase or a Huntington or a Flagstar or a Bank of America where they have they're very limited in scope as far as the products go. So a lot of times, a lot of clients I see, I look at what they're being offered, and they're being offered either a higher interest rate or worse closing costs because technically they shouldn't be getting a loan from the institution in the first place. So your best bet is to always go first to a mortgage broker. And then second, if you have a very niche product, then we need to get you over to a niche lender or bank.
Okay. And so again, like you said, when we're like, okay, I want a mortgage broker, maybe I've got to go to a lender, but I'm starting to feel like I got a lot of shopping to do.
Yeah.
A lot of maybe interviewing to do. And so I think you kind of alluded to this earlier. You probably need to start with a realtor.
Yes.
So how do I pick my realtor?
Okay. So the main ways that I advise people, especially friends and family of mine that are looking to purchase or sell a home out of state that are looking for somebody in that market is first, we got to look at local success. Are they active in the market, right? To do that, we know people that have bought or sold homes in that city. So if you have family or friends, and let's say I want to live in Clarkston, I want to buy in Clarkston, right? Because I know you live in Clarkston, I'm going to say, hey, who should I be using? What 2 or 3 names do you know that I should be using? Or who did you use to buy your home and was it a great experience? If you say, oh my gosh, it was a great experience, you got to call this person. I'm going to say, great, let me have their name and phone number. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look up their Google reviews. Literally. Like, every real estate agent out there gets that one easy deal.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean they're a great real estate agent.
Right.
Right?
For sure.
And I've run into that time and time again. When everything is going right, it's easy to look like a rock star.
Yeah.
But when you're having inspection issues and appraisal issues and title issues, how you handle all of those things matter. It could be overpaying for a home or getting a great deal on one. It could be not even getting the home at all for the wrong reasons. I've seen that happen in the past. So the first thing I recommend people do is take a look at their Google reviews and take a look at their Zillow reviews. Those 2 sites specifically.
Yeah.
Now on Zillow, it's also going to show you where they've been selling homes actively. They'll literally put it out there on a map. So it makes it really easy to see. So Zillow ties into the multiple listing service, which scrapes all that data and puts it into a map graphic overlaying over your local map showing every single home that person has sold in their career.
Okay.
So then you can see, okay, well, this person did help my friend Caitlin in Clarkston, but they only did 1 home in Clarkston and they've done 25 in Royal Oak.
Right.
And to me, that's a little bit of a red flag because especially when you get into the more rural areas, there are different loan types. And not to be offensive, but your Royal Oak realtor probably doesn't know much about the more rural loans out there that are available for people. So that's an opportunity that could be missed.
And I would think even outside of loans, there are probably a lot of, at least we deal with this in title, there are a ton of nuances with municipalities and regulations and restrictions. And there's just kind of a custom of how business is done or negotiated in all of these little communities. So I would imagine if we're starting with the realtor, so that we know, first of all, should we buy a house? What direction are we moving in? And then we're trusting that realtor to provide us with kind of additional recommendations on who the right lender is. And I'm sure we're going to talk to the realtor about who a good title company is or who a good home inspector is and so on and so forth. They really have to be embedded in that
community,
in that area, in that community.
Yeah, they really do. Because especially in Southeast Michigan, there are a ton of municipalities that have city inspections that are a requirement to transfer the property from one person to another for the next person to be able to live in it. So to make that a little bit simpler, the city has to come out and inspect it. They're going to give you a list of repairs. And then either the buyer or the seller, one of them, whoever is agreed upon to do it, has to do said repairs before, as a buyer, you can move in.
Yeah.
And a lot of agents from out of area don't know that. Right?
We see that a lot. We see that a lot in title.
I remember when I was representing a buyer in Westland, and I said to the listing agent, hey, look, they're going to need a roof letter at closing. Then the lady literally said, what is a roof letter?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, if I wasn't part of that transaction, that whole thing could have been backed up an extra 5 or 10 days.
Yeah.
And that's
assuming they even figured that out.
If they figured it out.
And that didn't become a giant after closing disaster.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where the city is now starting to put severe and immense fines on that buyer.
Right.
Because they bought a home without going through the proper procedure of either a city inspection or roof letter or furnace letter or water testing on a well or a septic field test or any of those things.
Yeah.
Right? Which certain cities do need.
Right.
Like West Bloomfield right now requires that you have your septic tested before the deed's transferred.
Right.
They cannot be. They will not allow you to sell a failing septic, and a lot of that is because West Bloomfield wants all of the residents on city water, city sewer. Now that there's enough city water, city sewer infrastructure built out. So, as an example, I had a seller years ago where I said, "Hey, look, I think we should have the septic tested beforehand," and it was failing, which is good to know, because the sewer line. He was the first one to have a failing septic on the street. The sewer line was at the far end of the street. So it wasn't just the $8,500 tap fee, which is what West Bloomfield was charging at the time, and it wasn't just the $10,000 to run the line at the time from the street to the house, but it was an additional $36,000 to run the line down the street.
Yeah.
And that could really change for a seller or a buyer what they intend to do with that property or how much they're willing to pay for it.
Yeah. So let me ask you, I think what is probably kind of a controversial question.
Yeah.
And don't be offended. How long have you been in the business?
23 years and 7 months.
Okay, so do you think,
Not that I'm counting.
if you were a brand new buyer, would you say, I'm not using a brand new real estate agent?
I would not. Unless there's only one instance, maybe two, that I would.
Okay.
First one, if they're part of a larger, well-infrastructured team.
Right.
Right? As an example, my team and several others in Metro Detroit, our requirements are their first several deals, they have to partner with one of our veteran agents.
Okay.
Right? And that gives them a lot more confidence.
Yeah.
It means, so there's one team leader in the area, not to name, but they don't use legacy, that literally says, hey, I want my first-time agents to go fly solo because I feel like they need to lose a deal to be able to close more deals.
Okay.
Because then they'll have to fight in them. But think about that from the buyer or the seller perspective, right? If they lose their first deal because they're just unsupported, that's a buyer or a seller that just received absolutely terrible service.
Right.
So most of the larger teams in Metro Detroit go the other way with it, where they have some layer, some broker protection, some partner protection with a veteran agent. So if somebody said, hey, look, I'm part of ABC team, I would have a lot more confidence in that new agent.
Right. So
if they're at ABC brokerage, and especially a broker's name you've never heard of before, then there's probably no support.
Right.
So there's no resource for that person to go to and ask great questions, and especially not over the weekend, which is one of the problems in real estate. Is a lot of brokers take Friday at 5 p.m. off and they restart again Monday at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
But a lot of real estate happens over the weekend. So if you're using a new agent that doesn't have a lot of experience, let's call it less than 20 transactions, and they've got a question this Saturday afternoon, it's going to wait till Monday. Because their broker's out.
And yeah, to clarify for other people, the broker is the person who's helping that agent. So if the agent has a question, they have to escalate it to their broker.
Yep.
You're saying that a lot of brokers just aren't available because they take weekends off, which sounds nice.
Yeah, it does sound nice. I wish I did.
So let's say I have my heart set on Sally, and Sally is a new agent. It sounds like if I still really want to work with Sally, I should just ask some more questions and say, hey, what kind of support do you have? I think you're going to be a phenomenal negotiator, whatever it is that makes me want to work with Sally, but I probably just need to ask some more questions to make sure that she's got the appropriate support and the appropriate resources so that we don't have a roof issue or a sewer inspection issue or whatever.
Yep, absolutely. So you should definitely start asking some additional questions specific to support.
Right.
Like, who in your office are you mentoring with who has a lot of experience, as an example?
Right.
Because we were all day one at something
Yes.
sometime. Everyone was. I mean, I was, you were, everyone was. And as much as I don't want to penalize somebody for that, I also don't want to put in the hands of a brand new person a $500,000 home purchase.
Right.
Without knowing that they're
Your
capable.
forever home. This is your biggest investment
Yeah.
for most people.
It's scary.
Yeah.
It can be very scary, or it can be very fun.
Right.
Either way.
Very exciting.
But yes, that local real estate agent that does have a ton of reviews, that you can see the map overlay that they've sold many properties in the area, that is probably going to be your best bet.
Got it.
Now again, it's not going to guarantee a great agent, but at least you know that they've had past success.
Got it.
They've received 5-star reviews for it. Then the other thing you want to do is start reading into the reviews themselves. See if you can see yourself in those reviews, right? Is this person only working with people that are buying their third home between $750,000 and $2 million?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a different level of information. That's a different level of hand-holding than somebody that's buying their very, very first home.
Yeah.
Right? Somebody buying their very, very first home.
Different market,
Different
too.
market. Like a different market and different sets of questions, different sets of information I'm going to give that person. If someone is buying their third home, especially in the last 10 years, they have some experience with it, right?
Yeah.
So there's certain things that I may just gloss over as a real estate agent that's been doing this for a while, right?
Right.
With a first-time buyer, I'm going to approach that situation differently and probably give them more information, but make it smaller bites,
Right.
right? So I'm not overloading them.
Right.
Right. So is that agent used to working with somebody in your specific position? What if you're moving down as a seller? What if you're hitting retirement and you're going from a house at 4,000 square feet to a 2,500 square foot condo? Those are two different transactions you got to line up. Does this person have experience doing it?
Right.
The reviews themselves will tell you what they have experience with and where they have that experience doing it.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So let's apply that baby steps concept here today.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've decided that we want to buy. We've decided that we are going to pick out a phenomenal real estate agent and they're going to help us find that mortgage broker that's going to be perfect for us.
Yep.
Although, really, is there such a thing as perfect, right? But
No.
we're going to find the right one for us for this deal. And then we're off to the races.
Yeah.
So what does that look like? Like, what day are we on? Are we
So
on day
right
5?
now
Where are we at?
we're probably 2 days before we're seeing homes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you got the mortgage broker. Mortgage brokers probably ask you for a bunch of stuff. You're in the process
Right.
of turning in a whole lot of that stuff. And the reason why that's important is because I want to make sure as your agent that you have an underwritten approval, an actual pre-approval before we go see homes.
Got it.
Now the reason for that is because when we go see a great home, it's not just going to be a great home for us. It's going to be a great home for like 8 different families,
Yeah.
which means that we're going to be competing.
Right.
Right? This actually just happened to on one of my listings where we did have 4 offers come in. One of them, which was actually the second highest, had a pre-qualification, not a pre-approval.
Okay.
Those are very different things. So a pre-qualification is where you call up a lender or a loan officer or a mortgage broker and say, hey, look, I make about this much. I have about this much debt.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure my credit score is somewhere around here because that's
Right.
what Credit Karma said. What do you think? And the guy says, well, I think you can get a loan. I mean, there's a pretty good chance of it.
Right.
You know, let's say 80%.
Yeah.
I'm faithful in that. So I'm going to give you a pre-qualification based on just random unverified information that I was told.
I plugged it on the internet.
Yep. Agents and sellers do not trust it.
Right.
Honestly, and sellers don't trust it because agents don't trust it because I know when it
Right.
says pre-qualification on the top, nobody's actually looked at and verified that person's income, assets, any of it, debt, any of it. So in this case, I told my seller, I said, look, I'm going to give this guy 24 hours to change from a pre-qualification to a pre-approval, but I also don't want to piss off the other 3 buyers that are sitting here willing to make great offers on your home. So I think the right thing to do is give them 24 hours, but after that, we got to move on and take an offer.
Yeah.
So I did try to give that agent a little bit of leeway, but 24 hours later, they weren't able to get a pre-approval done and in my hand, so we did end up taking the other high offer.
Right.
Yeah.
See, that's where
And
experience
that buyer
comes in.
lost the property.
Because they didn't have the right offer or they didn't have the right approval.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to have that in hand in some form or fashion before you see the first home.
Okay, so we're working with our agent, we're working with our mortgage broker, and so 2 days later, we're going to start looking at houses.
Yeah, get out there. Get out there, see everything, have a blast. And I'm serious about that. Like, don't ever feel like you're bothering your agent, number one.
Okay.
I get that feedback a lot. We're like, well, we don't want to bother you, but this property. It's like, no, guys, that's the job.
Should I be surfing Zillow and like finding houses I want to look at? Are you going to show them to me? Like, how does that
Probably some combination.
Okay.
Probably some combination of both.
And then what if I'm working at like, what if I want to see the house during the day or at night? And like, what do I do when I get there? Do I take my shoes off? I got questions.
So a good full-time agent will be able to show you the home pretty much any time of day.
Okay.
That's probably a good point, is you probably want to work with a full-time agent, not a part-time agent. And again, nothing wrong with part-time agents, but there have been a lot of issues in this fast market where a lot of part-time agents have lost homes for their clients because they just simply couldn't get out there fast enough.
Right.
So they're working a full-time job, and then they got a kid's birthday tonight. So I'm so sorry, we can't go until tomorrow. Well, the house is gone tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because again, if it's a great house, it's not going to last in any market. It doesn't. Even in 2008, a great house did not last.
Right.
Yeah.
If it's a deal, it's a deal.
If it's
doesn't matter what the year is.
Yep. And generally speaking, showings happen between 8 and 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. and pretty much everything in between is fair game. There are some sellers that will say, well, for this specific home, these 3 days of the week, I work from home. So from, 8 to 3 or 8 to 4, I don't want showings because I'm on meetings in corporate America all day. So, but a real estate agent will be able to look at showing time and determine, okay, they've got these times blocked off.
Yeah.
So they'll be able to tell you, I'm so sorry, this home is not available at 2 o'clock, but it is available at 4 o'clock.
Right. Which brings up another point. Like, let's say I have a lot of faith in my research skills. And I'm like, forget this. I don't need a real estate agent. I can find the right lender. I can find the right title company, and I can research the municipal requirements.
And please tell me you're not using ChatGPT to do all that.
It sounds like maybe that's not the world's best idea.
Yeah.
But why?
It's not the world's best idea. Well, you should be, as a buyer or seller, you should be doing your own research, I believe.
Yes.
But you should pass it through that great real estate agent and that great lender as well. Because there's a lot of really bad information out there. And we get these questions all the time about it, right? Like, well, why can't I have this loan program?
Right.
Well, this loan program doesn't work because it's not a rural zone or the zone, like as an example. Like that's a question we get once a month where a buyer says, hey, ChatGPT said I could buy this home with only 1% down. It's like, well, yes and no. Can you buy a home with 1% down? Yes. Can you buy this home with 1% down? No.
Right.
No. Right.
But what about even seeing houses? What about showings and things like that? Can I just open up somebody's lockbox and go in?
No. You got to go in with a licensed real estate agent.
So if I want to see these houses outside of open houses, I really need a real estate agent.
Yes.
Because I think that's kind of a question a lot of people have that I hear.
Yep. And so that was a problem back in 2008 and 9.
Right.
When there were a lot of foreclosures on the market, there were some real estate agents out there because they were showing so many properties per buyer because there were 45 properties to go see.
Yeah.
And a lot of buyers would want to go see all 45 properties, which is fair. That's fair. This is going to be this is a very large investment, right? Not only is it your home, but it's an investment. But some agents got a little quirky and decided to hand out some lock boxes. So the MLS, the multiple listing service, and the board of realtors made a change. If a real estate agent is caught handing out a lockbox, the first fine is $1,000. Second fine is $10,000.
A lockbox code. You mean so that you can do it yourself?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's a no-go.
That's a very big no-go.
And certainly, if you're selling your home, you probably want to know
who's coming in, who's coming out,
and you want them to have some licensing requirements. Hopefully,
for sure,
at least, so we know who the heck they are.
For sure. 100%.
I mean, it checks out.
Yeah. I mean, I would never give a lockbox to a purchaser under any circumstance,
right?
Even if the seller said it was okay to, because this is my bread and butter, my livelihood.
Yeah.
So then the other question comes in: if a real estate agent says, "Hey, look, why don't I just give you the code? You can go," that would probably be the point I'd fire the real estate agent.
Right.
Because if they're willing to go against the code of ethics in that fashion, what else are they willing to bend?
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't realize that realtors have a code of ethics.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty strict. It's a pretty strict set of requirements too, which I think should be reassuring to most people.
It is. It is.
Okay, so
now you're seeing houses.
We're seeing houses. We have this moment, and I'm like, this is the one.
Great.
What are you gonna do? What are we gonna do?
Okay. The very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call the other agent.
Okay.
I'm gonna say, hey, I'll tell you what, Caitlin, start thinking about what offer you would like to make. I'm gonna gather some comps, I'm gonna get them in your email. We're gonna walk through them together, but I at least want you to take a look and see what's actively on the market in this neighborhood, what's pending, and what's sold. Because what's active is determining what else is on the market, of course, and where's their price positioning versus other ones, because we might just see another one you might like better. I
Right.
wanna make sure you're not missing the right opportunity.
Okay.
What's pending means these are in real time prices or pricing that is acceptable to the market.
So you're not going to just pick a price for me and be like, this is what we're doing.
Right. I'm not.
Okay.
That's
So
going
we're
to be
going
a
to have a
conversation.
conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And then third, I'm going to send you, of course, the solds to show you what actually closed. Because
Okay.
I don't know what that pending price is going to close at until it happens. Nobody does because
Right.
it's not marked anywhere. But I can say, okay, historically, these 4 sold at price per square foot A, B, C, and D. And this one had the 3-car garage. We have a 2. This one has a finished basement. We have unfinished. So you can see what the value differences are there. So while you're looking at that, I'm going to get that in your email right now. I'm going to call the other agent. I'm going to ask them a series of questions. The most important 2 questions I'm going to ask them are first, do you have an offer right now?
Got it.
Because that's going to determine A, how fast we need to move, and B, what types of terms that we may or may not want to include in our offer if we're competing. If you
Okay.
want to compete, because that's another question. Some buyers just choose not to want to compete at all, and that's fair as well.
Right.
The second thing I'm going to try to figure out is why are they moving, and when do they need to be there?
Okay.
Putting the caveat on it. After you buy this home, you're going to live in it you're going to tell me 5 years, it's really going to be 12 and all of the things.
Yeah.
When the day comes and you call me back to say, hey, Mike, can you sell this home? The one thing I will never do is tell the other agent why you want to sell the home. But 80 to 90% of the time, they literally just tell me.
Yeah.
Well, they got a job relocation out to California. Awesome. When do they need to be there? Well, actually, the husband's there now, and he hasn't seen his kids in 45 days, and the situation kind of sucks. So I'm really glad that we're talking. I love
Cool.
that. I love that.
Good to know.
Well, the husband lost his job and the wife has kept hers, but really the house of this size becomes just a financial burden. Oh my gosh, it's a divorce situation. Oh, it's an estate sale. All the kids live out of state and they really just want to get the money out of it and be done with it. Like all of these things help me determine not necessarily market value, but how much I can scalp them for.
Okay. It's going to help you negotiate.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And what terms are also needed, because then the other questions are, if it's furnished, then obviously they live there or somebody lives there, could be a tenant. Great. How many days after closing do they need?
Right.
Right. And especially if I'm competing, that could be a term I can win on with a lower price offer.
Let the seller stay in the property after closing
Yep.
if they need to.
If they need the
And it
extra
gives me a little bit more negotiating opportunity because maybe my buyer doesn't need to get in the property day 1. They're fine waiting 30 days.
Yep.
Okay.
And if that versus an offer where they say, hey, I need you out at closing, but the sellers need 30 days, but your offer's 3, 4, 5,000 less, you'll probably get that house.
Right.
Because think about it from the perspective of just making a double move.
Right.
You got to pay movers twice now. You got to go into
Yep.
short-term living, which is very expensive. And then you got to unpack part of your stuff, and then all your other stuff sits in storage. And then every time you go to look for something, it's probably in storage for the next month. And then you got to move again.
Which is especially
It's a
unfun
pain.
in a Michigan winter.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we're going to make some decisions. And then there's like a formal offer, right? Like we're going to put together a formal offer. What is that called? What does that look like?
Just an offer to purchase.
Okay.
Simply put.
And so I'm signing that.
You're going to sign it.
And then
you're going to initial it. And you're going to initial it in a lot of different places.
Right.
Literally. And then in there's going to be all of the terms that will protect you as a buyer.
Okay.
And also there'll be some terms in there that will protect the seller as well.
Okay.
As an example, you can walk away for pretty much any reason. If you don't like what the inspection says, if title comes up and they can't clean it up, if you can't get the loan, let's say you lose your job halfway through. For all of those reasons, most purchase agreements, not all, but most purchase agreements dictate that you will get the earnest money deposit back.
Got it.
The one that you don't get the deposit back is if you wake up the day before closing and say, you know what, I just don't feel like buying this house anymore.
Right.
Because they took the home off the market in earnest that you are doing everything in your power to buy that home.
Got it. So I would forfeit that deposit
To the seller.
if I didn't perform, AKA close,
Correct.
the way I said I was going to.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to sign this. We're going to send it over to the sellers. They're going to evaluate their offers and hopefully they accept it.
Well, it's only one of 3 things. They're either going to say yes, they're going to say no, or they're going to say no, comma, but I'd be willing to take this instead.
Okay.
And there's a counteroffer.
Okay.
So if they say yes, then we're off to the races. They're going to sign it, send it back, and we're going to do something called bottom lining it,
Okay.
right? Which is technically not required if there are no changes on the contract. But we're still going to do it saying, yes, we are in receipt of the accepted offer.
Right.
And then from there, all of our next contingencies kick off, which we'll talk about in a moment. Second one is no. Sellers literally have the right to just say no.
Right.
They don't have to take an offer. There's no legal requirement that says because an offer was made, even at their price and terms, they are legally forced to accept it. Right?
Okay.
I mean, it's just like Facebook Marketplace. I can say $10 vows, I'll pay you $10. Nope, you don't want to take it? Great.
Okay.
And nothing I can do about it. No recourse.
Okay.
And then the third one is no but, which could be no but I'm not willing to accept 500,000, but I would take 510,
Okay.
even though I'm listed at 525.
Okay.
Right? So there's a counteroffer, right? No, but I can't be out in 15 days. I need to be out in 30.
Okay.
Any one of those terms can be countered, literally any one of them, right?
Got it.
And then that constitutes a full-on counteroffer. When you counter one thing, you're countering everything,
Okay.
right? So then we sit back on our side and evaluate, okay, is this something we're willing to do?
Yeah.
Are we willing to take the 510? Can we go from the 15-day to the 30-day? I know we put the 15-day on there because you need to be out of your apartment in 21 days, so we were trying to get that tightened up. Is that something you're willing to do? Is maybe go live with the parents for 10 days,
Okay.
right? And especially maybe with a newborn, that might be like a no, but just saying.
Or it might be a yes.
Or it might be a yes, yeah.
Extra set of hands.
Yeah, actually, that's also true. Can we even pull the closing up a week because the
Yeah.
sellers are going on this trip? Well, let's call the lender and see what he thinks about underwriting times right now.
Or, find yourself a title company who can make things happen in Barbados.
That's a great point. That's a great point. So that's one of the major differences from, let's say, 2019 to 2026.
Yeah.
Is we can now do fully remote signings literally anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
There are probably 5 countries that this doesn't work in. None of them are going to be countries that you're going to be in. And I'm talking like Russia or like North
Yeah.
Korea or something like that. Other than that, so with Legacy Title, I actually closed a home when I was in Copenhagen last year.
I remember this.
Yep. I was literally I was there with my family. We were at a museum and it was closing time. So I
Yeah.
walked over to the coffee shop at the museum and I literally FaceTimed the guy through their software. It's not FaceTime, but it's very similar too. I showed my ID. It was very clear who I was. And it took me about 12 to 14 minutes, maybe. It wasn't even 15.
Yeah.
We were walking back out before it was 15 minutes to
Yeah.
see the rest of the museum. But I was able to close on that investment property without even having to come back to the United States.
Yeah. You didn't have
was
to miss
fantastic.
the closing day. Yeah.
Yeah, I have a seller right now that's in Southern California. And he's like, when should I book my flights? I'm like, you don't need to. Save
Yeah.
the $800.
Yeah.
Literally. Like, is there any other reason you're coming back? Are you coming back to see kids? Or you come back to see your brother? Like,
Yeah.
he's like, no, I don't really need to come back. I'm like, great, save the $800. Don't come to Michigan in the cold. Come when it's warm.
Yeah.
Come 3 months later.
Yeah.
When your brother has his boats out at that lake house.
Yeah.
Not worth it. Not worth the time. So we're just going to do a remote closing.
Yeah.
Yeah. There are some sellers that are not comfortable with remote closings yet because it's newer.
For sure.
So I've had a little bit of pushback on it, but really out of, I don't know, probably 100 remote closings we've done, I think it's only happened 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very interesting because the nature of real estate closings has changed quite a bit.
Yes.
Right. And so,
Yes.
so we're talking about getting that signed purchase agreement, and then you're sending that purchase agreement to the title company, right? Because the title company is who is going to prepare the closing.
Yep.
Like, we have that kind of picturesque idea of we're going to all sit at a table like this and we're going to sign a stack of papers and make the joke, oh, we're signing our life away. My hand's getting a cramp,
Yep.
We've heard them all.
And it was that way when I got into the business. Like it was.
It's
Yeah.
better now.
Yeah.
But the people who prepare those documents is the title company. Like you talked about the title insurance piece, but here in the state of Michigan, the title company does both.
Yeah.
They prepare everything for the closing. That means they're the ones who are figuring out the math. Did you pay your taxes? Did you not? Who's got to pay them? Are we prorating them? All of those little intricate details. And so they're going to take that purchase agreement that you just negotiated, you ping-ponged back and forth, and they're going to turn that into a closing.
Yes.
So they're going to do all of that research and stuff. But while they're doing that, what are you guys doing?
Yeah. So the research that the title company will be doing is looking for an unbroken chain of title at least 40 years back, among other things. They want to make sure that the person that's actually selling you the home is the person that actually owns the home and they legally own the home, right? That's happened to me one time on an investment property of my own.
Yeah.
I bought a home that the owner wasn't the owner. The owner was actually, well, the owner was the owner, but it was sold to them by a tenant.
Yep. Yeah.
It's literally happened.
It's a very unfortunate fraud scheme we've seen.
Yes.
Especially in recent years, especially here in Southeast Michigan.
Yes. In Detroit, Pontiac, and a couple other cities, yes. It's a big thing. Which is why having a good reputable title company, having your back and making sure that you're insured is a good thing.
Yep.
So all the documentation is going to be sent out to the title company, all the documentation is going to be sent out to the lender, and so you've got 3 different parties doing 3 different things at the same time.
Right.
Title is, of course, doing the research on title. The lender is starting the underwriting process because inside the purchase agreement, usually on page 1, there's a section there that says you have X amount of days to formally apply for the loan on this home, not just apply for a loan, but actually add the address into it, and X amount of days to be able to secure said loan.
Right.
Right. So they've got some work to do over there. In the meantime, if we're doing a home inspection, and we better be doing a home inspection, putting that out there, then we start interviewing inspectors and making sure we got the right inspector that's going to do the right number of inspections. Number 1, I want to make sure that we've got, again, a good, reputable home inspector, right? There is a home inspection company that I've been using. Should I say it? I'll say it.
Yeah.
Their name is Trademark. I've been using them now for 7 years. I actually use them on all of my own personal properties as well.
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why I have a lot of faith in recommending that company, because Jim and his crew are very good at what they do.
Yes.
I also like that they don't
know them as well.
overcharge.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is it's very easy as a home inspector to say, hey, you know what? You need these 4 additional inspections. But do you? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't. It's all situational. And it's also very easy to get a home inspector that will run through a property and be done with it. And you're like, did they actually look at anything? Like I literally had a home inspection going on with a young man, first home, and his parents hadn't bought a home in 30 years, so they didn't know how to navigate that as well. But him and his father showed up at the inspection. I let them know that I was going to be about 45 minutes into the inspection because I had another inspection I had to kick off that day as well. So I was kicking off 2 at the same time. And when I got there 45 minutes after it started, the guy was packing up to leave. And I'm like, did you finish the inspection? He's like, yeah, I did. I inspected everything. I'm like, okay. It doesn't look like you touched the garage. Did you inspect the garage? He looks out the kitchen window and says, well, it's brick. Should be fine. Like, nope, get out of here, buddy. We're done. Don't pay this guy. Get out of here. And so we actually did a second home inspection. And although it did turn out well, there were some things that we were able to negotiate for that buyer that the first inspector didn't see.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to go with a reputable home inspector. And again, we're looking for Google reviews. We're looking for evidence of success.
Yeah.
Right? And then we're going to determine what types of inspections do we need.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is going to be locational. And a good home inspector that's performing 10,000 inspections a year can guide you on that.
Got it.
Like as an example, there are certain areas in Southeast Michigan where I tell my buyers, hey, look, you're buying in South Lyon, we got to do a radon test. You're buying in Milford, we got to do a radon test. Any city with the word hills in it, Rochester Hills, Farmington Hills, we're doing a radon test because those have higher and more elevated levels of radon. Cities that are flatter, like a Livonia, generally speaking, don't have radon.
Huh.
Generally
I didn't know
speaking.
that.
Yep. And some inspection companies, Trademark's one of them, has it plotted on their website where they've done radon tests and they've come in elevated.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Which is, super helpful because now I can have my client look at it and say, okay, take a look at this. Based on this, what do you think? And they're like, oh my God, I'm buying in Brighton. I'm definitely doing a radon test. I'm like, yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm buying
That's
Green Oak.
cool.
I'm doing a radon test. Yeah. Which is very cool.
Yeah.
It's very helpful because radon tests can cost anywhere from $95 to $250 extra, depending on which company it is.
Yeah.
It takes an additional 48 hours, which is why it costs more. So they install a device in the basement or crawl space, but usually basement, and it literally tracks the radon levels over 48 hours.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And then they come back and they, of course, get the reading out and they say, okay, this is the percentage of the time it was above the EPA level of 4.
Yeah.
And if it's over 50%, then we got high radon.
Okay.
Right? And they leave instructions for the sellers like, don't open the windows, don't put a fan on, right? Don't try to alter the test. And most sellers don't even think about how to alter a test. So I'm not worried about that. Or, should we be doing a sewer scope?
Right.
Right? Like if it's a 2020 build in Novi, I'm gonna be like, no, they're just trying to charge you.
Yeah.
Let's be real. But if you're 1940s in Berkeley, we are absolutely doing a sewer scope.
Yeah.
It's worth a couple $100. right? So we know about a third of Berkeley's sewer lines are starting to fail.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So again, this is where local realtor, local home inspector
Yeah.
come in. We're not getting dad, who's the contractor. And I respect contractors. My father was a contractor. He was a master electrician for 40 years. I'm not having him do a home inspection on my house in Berkeley.
Right.
Because he doesn't know what to look for. He's never lived in Berkeley. He's never inspected a home in Berkeley.
Right.
Like he doesn't know, right?
Yeah.
But that home inspector will,
Right.
right? Do we need to do a perk test? Well, if we're doing new construction and we got to do a septic, then yeah.
Yeah.
Like there are all kinds of different inspections out there.
So
Some
we're
you
doing
need, most you don't.
inspections.
Yeah.
So we have our purchase agreement signed. Our lender is doing lender things behind the scene. They're doing their research into information that we've provided, whether it's copies of past tax documents and things that we're submitting over to them, and they're making sure that they really do want to lend to us, and the inspectors are making sure we really do want to buy this house, and
Yep.
title insurance company is doing a lot of math and doing a lot of digging and research.
Yep.
And then about how many days later do we
Okay.
get to close?
So in Michigan, a typical home inspection timeline is 7 days,
Okay,
which is also important to know because in other states, it could be either longer or shorter.
got it.
So in California, it's not uncommon to see a 25-day inspection period.
Wow.
Right? So some of our California people that come to Michigan and they're buying a home, they're like, well, we want 25 days. I'm like, yes, I understand that's the custom in California, and there is not a seller in Michigan that's going to agree to it.
Right.
But part of that's because it's harder to get a home inspector out there in that amount of time.
Right.
Because there are fewer home inspectors in California because California is a state that requires a license. Michigan is not.
Got it.
That's part of the reason for that. Just as an example. Generally speaking, between the day that we have the purchase agreement inked to the day of closing, we're looking at between 25 and 35 days. Generally speaking.
Got
right?
it.
And if there are issues that come up, that closing might be pushed back.
Right.
Or if the lender gets done early and everybody agrees to close early, we can close to 20 days.
Perfect.
It's a moving target. I tell all my buyers, this is a moving target. It's as good at, my guess is as good a guess as anybody's if that's what we're actually going to make.
But we write we write the closing date on the purchase agreement.
Yeah.
So didn't we already agree to that day?
We agreed to the day, and actually I write it as a range
Yes.
so we can fall within that range. So it gives us a little flexibility in case something happens. Like if the lender needs a document, and well, let's say the lender is doing a VOE, which is called a verification of employment, right?
Yep.
And let's say that you work for Ford Motor.
Right.
Good luck getting that guy on the phone. No offense, but there have been issues getting HR at Ford Motor on the phone the week of the closing,
Right.
right?
Yes.
Sometimes it could take them as much as 10 days to return that phone call.
Yes.
But the lender's not going to close. Nobody's going to loan you the money until they verify that you're actually still employed by them,
Right.
right?
So
I
we-
want to make sure we're setting that expectation.
Right. So we have a day, but just like you said, we know it's not set in stone.
Right.
There may be some adjustments, and we're all going to be chill about it.
Yep.
And we know
Yep.
there's a lot of moving pieces, right?
Yep.
But that's kind of how it works. You've got lenders, you've got title. We're forgetting about the seller too, right?
Oh, yeah.
The seller is a human
Yep.
who has human
Yep.
requirements as well. And so they may be in a position where they're not able to close because they're clearing up something with their existing lender
Yeah.
or whatever it may be. They're trying to get a payoff or something. And
Yeah.
so we're going to close eventually.
Yeah.
We're going to sit down like this. We're going to sign a bunch of documents. The title company is going to be there
Yep.
with our fancy closers,
Yep.
which is another name for one of our team members who's going to explain everything to you,
Mm-hmm.
as much or as little as you want. If you want the dissertation, we'll give it to you.
I'm the little. I'm the. Can you just line up all the documents in a row
Right.
where it's just the signature lines for me?
Yeah.
So I can just.
So you can ask as many questions as you want, or as few.
Yeah.
So we sign, and then we're done. We own it. We
Close.
walk away with keys.
You're pretty close. You may or may not.
Okay.
So here's what happens. So the title company is kind of, not only are they representing you in the transaction to be sure that you're clean and clear of any loans and liens and defects and judgments or any of that, but they're making sure to facilitate the transaction in its entirety per the purchase agreement document. So they're responsible for taking literally everything and putting it into a bucket. So everything
Right.
goes in this bucket, right? Your mortgage dollars go in the bucket, the down payment goes in the bucket, the deed goes in the bucket, the keys go in the bucket. Everything sits in that bucket until everything is 100% in that bucket. I will say this. Most of the time, not everything gets in that bucket at the time of closing right now.
Yes.
And that has to do with the Patriot Act. largely. Not completely, but largely. So that's one reason why you may not get keys directly at the time of closing. Because what happens is, since after 9/11, the Patriot Act came in, a lot of that was information based and things like that. But one thing they also said was, for any wires above $10,000, the Fed's going to stop and inspect it first, make sure it's not going for terrorist purposes, and then they can leave it on its way. This is why we'd like to close in the morning, by the way. As we get into the afternoon, it's less likely the money's going to get there.
Right.
So if you're doing a 4 o'clock closing after work, there's a very good chance you're not walking out with keys that day. You'll probably get keys in the morning or the next afternoon. Because once that wire hits, they can release everything out, the funds to the sellers, the keys to the buyer, the real estate agent commissions, all of it.
So that's an interesting point too. Like, we just skipped the closing table, but I have a job as a buyer. Before I show up to the closing table, I should have figured out how my money is getting to the title company.
Yeah.
Either maybe I only need to bring $15,000 or less, and I can bring a cashier's check, which means I still have to go get that check.
Still have to go to the bank and get it. Yep.
Or I can send a wire, but I still have to coordinate with my bank somehow, usually in person, even still in 2026, right? I still have to go do that in person, or at least over the phone. Usually I can't do it online.
Most banks, if you want to do wires over the phone, you actually have to set that up ahead of time.
Right.
So you have to go to the bank. Like, I mean, when I say ahead of time, I mean 3 to 5 weeks ahead of time.
Yep.
So most banks that do over the phone wires require some sort of a wire pin.
Yes.
So then you got to go to Chase Bank or Bank of America or Huntington and say, okay, I need a wire pin. And they're going to fill out a form. They're going to take your ID. They're going to notarize it. They're going to send it off to their department, and they're going to physically mail you a card with a pin.
Yeah.
That takes time.
Right.
And I know, because I have it set up for me.
Yes.
It sucks. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I've got to get that money to the closing. And the same thing, just like you mentioned, the lender has to get their money to the title company. And the title company is going to make sure, okay, we have all the money and all the documents. And we've only talked about the buyer. The seller has to sign too. And
They've got their own set of docs as well.
It's a very nice convenience that we have here in Michigan, where frequently our buyers and our sellers don't have to sign together at the same table.
Yeah.
So we may sign here and our sellers may sign in Barbados or California or wherever, and that's fine, but the closing isn't complete, like you're saying, until the title company has all the documents from California, all the documents from Novi, Michigan, all the money from the lender and the buyer, and all the contingencies have been met. Exactly.
And
then we're done.
Yeah. I mean, in 25 years ago, like when my mother sold real estate in the 90s, right?
Yeah.
This was an event.
Right.
This was a, you put on your Sunday's finest because you're getting a house today.
Yeah.
But in today's world, especially as technology's kept evolving, like we went from that era to my era in the early 2000s, where maybe 40 or 50% of the time they were not together, like all parties were not in the same room, to today where it's probably 25% of the time for a lot of our clients.
Right.
Just because of expediency, just because I don't need my client flying in from California.
Yeah. And the convenience factor is nice. I think more people would prefer the convenience than the event.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Awesome. So this has been a very thorough review of the closing process.
We kind of went a little bit in depth. One thing I will say is as an agent, they should be setting good expectations with the buyers, the sellers, the other agent, everybody in the process, right? They should be in command of the ship. Right? They're the captain pointing the direction, and there's a whole bunch of other people rowing to make sure that you're getting that house and you're getting it with a few bumps in the road. But there are going to be bumps in the road, right?
Always.
Like I'm Tom Hanks. This is Greyhound.
99.9% of the time, you're going to hit something.
Yep. Like this is World War II. There's submarines everywhere. I don't know what's happening at any point in time. Every real estate, not every real estate transaction, but I would say 99% of real estate transactions will have some stress or maybe even 2 or 3 stress points in it. Most of the time, it will be okay.
Yes.
It will be okay. A skilled person who has been through the process a couple hundred or 1,000 times will be able to get you through to the other side. Also, I would recommend asking the real estate agent, and again, you want to set proper expectations, right?
Right.
This is for all effects. It's a relationship for the next 45 to 90 days.
You're stuck together.
Yeah. It's almost like a marriage.
Yeah.
So if there's a specific way that you want to be treated, tell them that.
That's great.
Right?
Communication both ways.
Yep. And set the expectations. Yeah.
Right. Expect it from your real estate agent, but you've also got to communicate your expectations back.
Yep. Because these darn millennials love their texting but can't get on the phone for anything. But what if I'm a phone guy?
Yeah.
What if I want the message, whatever it is, delivered by phone so I can ask clarifying questions right there on the spot without going back and forth with the text 15 times? Or what if phones just annoy me? I
Yeah.
prefer a text
Or an email.
or an email.
This could have been an email.
I would love just a clearly written 2-paragraph email.
Yeah.
Or 3-paragraph email. So the way that we choose to communicate with our clients is we do ask our clients, hey, what is your preferred method? What do you want 90% of the communication to be? Do you want it to be phone, text, or email?
Yeah.
And then this is how we communicate. And this is how we
That's
communicate.
great.
Is we tell you what just happened,
Yeah.
what's happening right now, and what's happening next.
I love that.
And every single call with our closing coordinators, they always go over those 3 things, right? Every single email has those 3 things to the clients.
That's
right?
great.
Because a lot of these clients will go through this entire process 4 times in their life.
Yeah.
Some only 2.
You know, it's so funny to hear you say that because we implemented a process last year that we called Here's What's Going to Happen.
Yeah.
Because it's, you know, it's kind of crazy. We know what's going to happen. We know what this process is going to look like, but we do the same thing at the beginning of all of our emails. Hey, here's where we're at. Here's a video to explain what's going on.
Yep.
And there's a timeline of what's going to happen in steps 1 through 5.
Yep.
So I think that's so cool. And it's funny because we didn't talk about that.
No, we didn't. We didn't at all.
We
didn't
did that too
Yeah.
at Legacy, and so did you guys. And it makes sense because we understand what clients want to know.
Exactly.
What buyers need to know, what sellers need to know. They need to know what's happening.
And that's it. And then, on the far side of it, if you don't want information,
Yeah.
if you've been through this process 10 times, then just tell them that.
Yes.
Like, I mean, that sounds terrible, but like I purchase a couple of Vista properties every year. I know you do
Yep.
too. And there are just parts of the process I just don't need to know anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And that's okay. That's okay. It's okay to
Yeah.
say to your agent or your lender, hey, look,
Fast forward.
this is my 19th home purchase in
Yeah.
the last 20 years. Like, we're good.
Yeah.
Yep. I'll tell you what, when there's a problem, fire off a text. If I have a problem, I'll fire off a text to you. Other than that, don't talk to me.
Yeah.
I literally had a guy say that to me who was like, that he's an investor as well. But he's like, look, bro, you're calling me twice a week. It's a waste of my time.
Yeah.
And I really appreciated that because it gave me feedback around, okay, I really need to be doing a better job of saying, hey, how do you want to be treated in this process? Mm-hmm. Which made the process better for them. Because sometimes overloading people with information is the opposite of actually being helpful and good and
Yeah.
doing the right job for that person.
Right. And then you start to ignore everything.
And then you ignore everything.
the
Which
important
means,
stuff.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So then you get to the closing and you're at the closing, you signed everything
Yeah.
goes into the kitty, and then it comes back out.
Yep.
And then you've got 2 things left to do. Sometimes 1, but most of the time 2 things left to do that I highly recommend you do as a buyer.
Okay.
A lot of title companies will say, I can do this for you. And I would say, no. I prefer to do it myself.
Yes.
Right?
I know exactly what you're trying to say.
Yep. First one is the property transfer affidavit, saying that I'm moving the property on the city level from their name to my name.
Yep.
And if you don't do it as a primary residence, it's a $5 a day fine, up to $200. If you do it outside of 45 days. For investors, they just revisited that. And what was the total fine?
I don't know, but it's not
It's like
pretty.
$4,500.
Yeah.
It's
not good.
crazy high. And then the second one is the homestead exemption.
Yep.
So in the state of Michigan, we have 2 levels of property taxes. We have homestead and non-homestead. So the state of Michigan feels like if you're rich enough to be able to own 2 homes or more, we will take 40 to 60% higher taxes from home B.
Yep. Home
Literally.
number 2. Your
Yeah.
non-homestead.
Yep. So if you buy a vacation property up on Torch Lake, you're just going to pay more taxes,
Yep.
right? But if you're buying a primary residence, you're going to pay less taxes.
We should do a whole video on taxes.
We really should.
This is a hot topic,
It's a very hot topic
especially right now,
It's been
especially
the
in
news.
Michigan.
Yep. I have literally been on Fox 2 talking about this topic
Yeah.
twice. But you want to take both of those in. So the title company is going to give you an original and a copy of each of those 2 forms. You go to the city assessor's office. You take them in. They're going to timestamp and initial one of each and give it back to you. Keep those forever.
Forever.
Because if the city comes back, and they did this to me on a property, the city comes back and says, hey, look, we're going to go ahead and raise your taxes because it's clearly not homesteaded because you never turned the form in. I'm like, whoa, bro, I turned the form in.
Here's my stamped copy.
Yep. Unless
And
you
I
have the
have
stamped copy, they won't believe you.
Yeah, I will say there are certain municipalities that are known for that.
Yes.
That start with a D and end with Troit.
Yeah. Well, and actually, we're a little as well in Redford.
There's a few of them.
God, I don't want to go negative about the city, but I just had multiple issues with Redford where I needed the property transfer affidavit to go through so I could pull permits
Yep.
to be able to get a rental ready. And I literally, I was at the inspector's office. They're like, well, it's clearly not in your name.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, it's been 2 months. Of course it's in my name. So I drove over to the assessor's office and I'm like, hey, look, what happened with this? Like I turned it in.
Yeah.
And the guy's literally like, yeah, I remember you. I'm like, and? No, you didn't turn it in. I'm like, Why?
I just came to say hi.
Well, yeah. It's not in my system. Therefore, you didn't turn it in. I'm like, but you literally just said you remember me. Like, really? So I had to fill out a whole second one to get it turned in. I was like, hey, man, I'm so sorry, but can you update this in the system now? Because I need to go back and pull permits because I have contractors that are going to be at the house tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not to be offensive, but some of these cities are not.
They're using old
Yeah.
technology.
Yeah.
That's what I prefer to think.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
But keep those forever. Put them in a safe place.
Yeah.
If you have a fireproof box, it's a great place for them because
Yeah.
they're that important, because this could be thousands or tens of thousands of dollars if you lose them and if the city also
Yeah.
loses them.
That would be another good video.
Yeah,
For
that's
us
a great.
that was actually on my list for today if we hadn't talked for so long about
we
our
haven't talked that
process.
long.
I mean, honestly, we could talk for a lot longer.
How long have we been talking?
An hour and 20 minutes.
Well, we beat the 45-minute expectation. No. We should, this should be the Olympics. How long could one video be? Yeah.
Well, at least an hour and 20 minutes.
At least an hour and 20 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
All right, how do we want to close it up? Thank you for going on your homebuyer journey with us. Subscribe, like, and watch out for the next video where we're going to drop a video on the home seller journey.
Yep. And property taxes,
And one on property taxes.
at least.
And probably one on the history of Detroit.
Maybe.
And probably one on Detroit's water department.
Definitely.
Yeah. Maybe one on the governor's election because there's so many. No, we're not doing that. That's politics.
Lefts and
Sorry.
rights.
What's that?
Lefts and rights. Like I'm
Well,
on the
there's
left or you're on the left. We'll never know.
Yeah, there's lefts, there's rights, but in this race there are also centers. Mike Dugan.
I'm talking about seat positions.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
Like I'm on
governor's
the
race.
left and
Yeah.
you're on the right, and depending on how you're looking at it, you could be on the left and I'm on the right.
Oh, you used words like left and right, and I thought you were still on the politics thing.
No, I was never on politics.
Well, I was on politics. Yeah. Cheers, guys.
I hope it ends a long time before that.
Yeah.